Hello, good people. Thank you very much for tuning once again today. I'm so happy, guys, and I welcome you back to our channel. Today we are looking at Mr. Speaker, and this is a very good debate by Maria Patrimo. This is great, guys, and if today is your first time, do press that subscription button so that we can get these great videos next time. Thank you.
Speaker, thanks very much for being here this morning. Are you expecting to speak to the president today? And what is your reaction to what you just heard from President Biden?
Well, yeah, I will speak to the president in the next hour right after this show. He'll be on Air Force One coming back. Well, first of all, your voters have to your listeners have to understand this. Is it a revenue problem or is it a spending problem? In the last 50 years, we would average about 17% of GDP in revenue. Right now, we're almost at 20%. Only 2 times in American modern history have we ever got here, 1944 and 2000. So we have more money coming in to the coffers than at any time in history. The real challenge is our spending. Our spending on average for the last 50 years has been about 21%. Well, in FY22, after the Democrats had taken over, we're roughly over 24% of GDP. So it's a sheer spending problem. And it's very odd to me with what the president says. We have never offered something different than we talked about the entire time. The pivot has really been after Bernie Sanders had his press conference. The president pivoted back. He actually proposed spending billions more next year than we spend this year. The president's budget actually proposes spending more money than we spent at the height of the pandemic. We just can't afford to keep borrowing from China and be more dependent and create more inflation. I do not think it's extreme that we simply say we should spend less than we spent this year. We should pull back the unspent money from COVID. We talk about work requirements that actually bring people to jobs. The president voted for this as a senator. President Clinton signed it. Every statistical data shows that it helps people get jobs. And we're only talking about able-bodied people who have no dependents. They could be going to school, they don't have to worry. They could be volunteering at the church, they don't have to worry. But let's help people get jobs to help our supply chain. The president wants to borrow more money from China to pay people to stay home. And then we're talking about cutting the red tape so we can create projects. We can actually work instead of slowing everything up. I don't think these are extreme. I don't think these are draconian. And we want to be able to cap further expenditures, right? We don't cut government going in the future. We only let it grow at 1%. This is an idea that Joe Manchin had. So these are really common sense, responsible, sensible ideas of what we've offered.
I want to get into the nuts and bolts here in terms of what you're fighting for. But the president just said earlier this morning that he's not going to have cuts to spending without revenue raise. Are you going to raise taxes on people?
No, and that's different than what the president said in the Oval Office. He said, I know that's off the table. And I told the president, on February 1st, I sat down with the president, long before Janet Yellen ever told us when the deadline was, that it was going to be way into the summer. And I said, let's be responsible. Let's sit down, let's negotiate together, and let's put America on a different trajectory. Let's spend less than we spent before. Let's grow this economy, and let's save money where we've wasted. He ignored me for 97 days. It wasn't until the House Republicans actually passed a bill that raised the debt ceiling, limited what we'd spend in the future, saved the taxpayer monies, and grow our economy so the market would be going up, not down. That's the only reason we're in the room, but the president has really shifted right after the more progressive socialist wing of the party stood up and says they want to spend more money. He's now bringing something to the table that everyone said was off the table. It seems as though he wants default more than he wants a deal. That's not where I'm at. And the one thing you know about me, Maria, I will never give up. We can solve this problem and make our economy stronger, curb inflation, and be less dependent on China, and really focus on American problems with American solutions.
So do you think Bernie Sanders is among those leading this for the president?
Well, the president, he really wags the dog. I mean, when Bernie Sanders or AOC says something, the White House shifts to the other way. And I'm sorry, nobody believes in any household that you should spend more money. Think about what a debt ceiling is. It is your child having a credit card, and they spent all the money up. But you've done it year after year where you only kept lifting the debt limit for it.
Yeah.
And now you owe more on the credit card than you make an entire year, because our deficit is larger than our whole economy.
Yeah.
Should you just raise the debt limit, or should you look where your spending is? And it's not extreme to go back in spending levels that we spent just 5 months ago. That's not arcane.
Are there areas of commonality, of agreement? I know that clawing back the unspent COVID-19 money was something that both sides agreed upon. Do you also have agreement on permitting? Do you have agreement on caps on spending for the coming years?
Well, the difficulty is nothing's agreed to at all. But all the discussions we had before, I felt we were at a place that we could agree together, that we would have compromise. We wouldn't get what our bill said. We would find compromise that we could lift the debt limit, we can spend less than we spent before, we could claw back money that was unspent, we could get permitting reform where we cut red tape, have people build again. I mean, I believe this was a place that everybody gave. Now the president, even though he was overseas, fought to change places. I don't understand that. For 97 days, he ignored me. We were in a good place. He goes overseas, and now he wants to change the debate. That's not healthy. We still have to pass a bill before the House and the Senate, and we only have 11 days to go.
Yeah, and I know that you have also discussed, it passed in your bill that you would raise the ceiling until 2024, but are you expecting this is going to be raised all the way to 25 at this point? What's the timing?
Well, we talked about all of that, and think about that. If he wants to raise the debt further, that means a higher debt limit. We're looking at where we can actually put us on a better path, because if you go to the president's path, he's going to increase the debt to a place that we can't afford, where right now it's going to be 17 cents on every dollar we bring in goes to interest. We will pay more money in interest in the next 10 years than we paid in the last 83 years. It'll be 10.5 trillion. Don't you hate paying the interest on your credit cards? Well, now what's happening is every single American that has a new baby, that baby gets charged $94,000 coming into this world. I think that's wrong.
Speaker, I want to get one more comment from you on the call that you had. You had a call with FBI Director Christopher Wray on Friday. You know that James Comer has a subpoena out for the document that he wants to see. Are you going to be able to get that document? What went on with your call with the director of the FBI?
Well, I want to be very clear with the FBI director that Congress has a right and we have the jurisdiction to oversee the FBI. This is one piece of paper that a chairman of a committee has requested to see. He hasn't even acknowledged whether he has this document, but he hasn't even provided it. I explained to the director that we will do everything in our power, and we have the jurisdiction over the FBI, that we have the right to see this document. I believe after this call, we will get this document.
All right, we will be waiting for that. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We're going to be waiting to hear what goes on with your call with the president after this program, and you are making a difference. We see your poll numbers as well continuing to rise. Thank you so much, Speaker Congressman Kevin McCarthy.
Oh no, this is happening world over. You see, the economic times are hard. You see United States trying to borrow more money, but the speaker is standing firm and say they have to cut on their spending and they have not to raise the debt ceiling. Wow, that is very great. I don't know, I will be following this in the near future to see where they are heading to. Thank you guys for watching, and if today is your first time here, do press that subscription button so that next time you will be able to get these great videos. See you again next time. Bye bye.